day, everyone. Welcome back to the Doc of Detox show. Today's show is energy fields and physical blocks. And today we have a returning guest that we all love, Peter Webb. He's a dear friend of mine and understands something. He understands nature, he understands humankind and how they need to come together. Excuse me. But first, I'm very excited to announce the upcoming shows for this week. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be meeting again with Peter Webb, answering all your questions from today. So everybody, listen. Send in your questions in by Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or on our intercom. All right, send your questions in. You could do it live tomorrow, okay? Or you can just send them up ahead of time on Facebook. All right. So here we go. Also, we are having on Wednesday, we're having Darrell Bigtree. Who is Darrell Bigtree? Well, Darrell Bigtree is the most powerful force dealing with vaccinations today. Okay, and the show tomorrow is called Wake the Beep Up. All right, and this is about vaccinations. Now, you've got people that would never want their children vaccinated, and others believe that if their children, other people's children aren't vaccinated, they're going to make people sick. Well, tomorrow, we're going to get the truth about what's going on in the vaccination world, what's going on with all the different states throughout the United States, who's doing what to who, okay? So you're not going to want to miss that show on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Darrell Bigtree. And then Darrell will be back on Thursday, and he will be doing a Q&A from 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time until whatever time it's over. And then Monday, a week from today, I will be doing my Q&A for everyone. So that means all your health questions, emotional questions, nutritional questions. It doesn't really matter. Any questions that you have that you want to ask me, they can be anything at all, and I will do my best to answer them, okay? So let's talk about today's show. It is about energy fields and physical blocks. Now, I want everybody to understand something, and just try to wrap your head around this, that everything is energy, okay? E equals MC squared. Most important quotation, math quotation that's ever been done is E equals MC squared, which is energy equals mass. So understand something. Energy creates mass, and from mass, we can create energy. You can throw a couple logs into the fire and it's going to create heat. Or you can create a fire, inflammation in your body. And what are you going to do when that happens? Well, we are an inflammation nation. So being an inflammation nation, what happens when we're inflamed in the body? Well, the body creates scar tissue, crystallization made from lactic and uric acid, and it creates calcium that it pulls from the bones. And it does this, and it creates this mass to try to wall off the inflammation, okay, so that it doesn't spread throughout your body, and so the predators don't come in to attack the weakened tissue that is inflamed, whether it's an organ, it's a joint, or it's a tissue. Okay, so understand this. So when you have like a block, a physical block, let's take cancer, a tumor. Some people will actually believe that that is the problem. Now, I know that a tumor is it's scar tissue, it's crystallization and calcification, and it's also mutation of cells. But the reality is somebody who had a tumor, they would have 20 or 30 other blocks throughout their body. Why do you think the healing process with practitioners is so terrible and they're not very successful? Because they just look at the tumor. You got to look at the whole body. If somebody has a block in their body and it's big enough that you can recognize it and it looks like that is the main disease, I guarantee you they're going to have another 20 blocks throughout the rest of the body, which is slowing down the energy. Now, if you truly understood your body, you would understand that you are an energy being. You're not a physical being. You are a spirit being down here having a physical experience. So understand, your spirit is always coming into your 50 trillion cells of your body. It's continually coming in until you're no longer here and decide you don't want to play this game, then the spirit doesn't keep entering. But the reality is when we have this energy entering and we have this energy flowing throughout the cells, all the fluid of the body, every physical block slows down the energy and causes corruption. So, you know the old saying, go with the flow. And you'll know if you go with the flow because if you will not have physical blocks in your body. And we get physical blocks in our body when we don't go with the flow, when we can't let go, when we can't let go of the old things, when we can't bring in new things into our life. Everything is energy. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. And everything has a vibration. Everything has a frequency. You know, believe it or not, the last time we did Peter's show, I actually got phone calls from people. And I had one gentleman call me up and he said that these bodyguards, okay, all right, and I'm not picking on this gentleman. I'm talking about the belief systems that are out there. He said that this was the devil's work, okay? And he said that you cannot put frequencies into a crystal. So that would be saying like you cannot put frequencies into a physical body. Well, we are frequency. Everything is frequency. Whether you're talking about a donut or you're talking about an apple, they both have a frequency and they're different. And every disease has a different frequency. And we know that different frequencies heal different diseases. Now, why did we ever fall off track to the point? Let me tell you something. I fell off track, and how did I do it? Well, my father was a part-time pastor. And one time when I went to church, I can just tell you this much. One of the other pastors were speaking, and up there they said, okay, there's the East Indians are coming to invade North America, and they're coming to invade North America with this thing called chakras and yoga. And, you know, I'm 8 years old or 9 years old. I don't know. I was young, and I just went, oh, my gosh, I hate those people. I hate those East Indians. And I didn't even know what chakras were. I didn't know what yoga was. I just know that they were trying to infiltrate North America with their religion. So this is the kind of brainwashing that we get in life, that to the point that we can't even talk about energy in the human body and how there's energy in everything, whether it's a crystal or it's a rock or it's a donut or it's anything. And we have so many people and their belief systems get them all upset. And, you know, and then all of a sudden, Dr. Wolfe goes from being the good guy to actually trying to contaminate people's minds. Well, I want to tell you something. There's nothing contamination about me, all right? Okay. I was raised in a Christian family, and I believe in a greater power than myself that has created the whole universe. And I don't believe in one religion anymore. I believe that we're all family and we come down here and everybody has different beliefs. But even if somebody says to me, you know what, that's sinful, Darrell, what you're doing, I understand. But I want everybody to understand something. This show is not about a little tight box. This show is about broadening your mind. This show is about bringing up your vibration. It's about bringing up your vitality. It's about becoming the authentic you. And you'll know when you're the authentic you because you will not take things personal and you will not need approval for honoring, respecting, and loving yourself. And that's all this show's about. This show is not about you joining some cult or joining my group or being a follower. This is about you coming on my show because it's your show. It's our show. And it's about you coming onto my library. It's about you going into my A to Z masterclass. It's about you discovering you, how unbelievably beautiful you are and how unlimited your potential is for laughing, for healing, for dancing, for playing, for loving. So understand something. Now, Peter Webb is going to be starting to talk about chakras. Okay, he's going to talk about what science calls them energy grids in the body. So you guys want to fight science? Go right ahead. Chakras were named by the East again. They call them chakras. Okay, the Chinese call it qi, and then science calls them energy grids, and we have them throughout the body. They're there. It's documented. So let's not freak out. Let's open our minds, because guess what? The more small-minded you are, the more stressed out you're going to be. And I don't want you to be stressed out. I want you to open your mind to the world of possibility. Do you understand that there are trillions of galaxies? Okay? That we don't know what's out there. that your mind is in this little capsulated thing called Earth? Let's broaden our minds today. Let's broaden them every day. Let's stay connected to our breath and know that there is so much we don't know. When you think that you know, and when you go into judging people or judging things, that's when you shut down. That's when you stop learning. And I'm telling you something. I've been in the health business now, and this is not exaggeration. I've been in the health business now for 40 years, and I can tell you I know very little. But what I do know, I know well. And what I do know is that I am an infant in my learning. I just wanted to say that because the problem is when we introduce something new, like when people just try to do my perfect day diet, when they start trying to honor and love themselves, they find out how hard that is because your subconscious has prominent thoughts. And your subconscious says, I don't care. You're not dead. You're not suffering that bad. I'm not going to change. I'm going to stay right here. I don't know about this total love, total forgiveness, total honesty, total growing thing. So I'm not moving forward. That's the same thing with energy grids. They exist. They're real. And please stay connected to your breath. And let's see if we can expand our minds because it's a lot better than expanding our minds than our bodies. Okay? All right. So let's begin the show. As we all know, Peter Webb is an expert in radionics and all things natural. He was given the gift of understanding nature, and today he's here to share this with us. He's here to share this gift with us. Thank you, Peter. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. And because we hear about the proverbial canary in the coal mine. Well, my proverbial canary is a dairy cow in Wisconsin. But there's a challenge now in the dairy industry on a number of farms where the cows are not producing their potential. The cows actually got dull eyes. There's no life in their eyes. Their noses are dry. Their coat is dull. And what we learned,
Peter, what's cows got to do with us, though? What's cows got to do with us?
Well, the cow is a physical animal.
Okay.
What affects them affects us.
Okay, good. Very good.
I'm just going to make this observation, and then we'll bring it into how it affects the human being. Mm-hmm. Because when we checked the energy in the gut of the animal, it was they were only just digesting 20% of the food they were consuming, which means the bacterial level was extremely low. It was only about the 20% of the bacteria performing in the digestive system. And so bear in mind that you're talking energy. There is a portion of all the electricity that you use through your meter goes back down into the ground. And it travels through the ground to a substation where it's then picked up and resent back into the grid. On the way to the substation, there is this invisible electromagnetic field of AC current in the atmosphere, and it's also in the ground. And then it's well documented in the ground as stray voltage or ground current. And but what it does, the cow is grounded on the floor, so this electromagnetic energy is draining through the cow, and it blisters the feet, and the feet get sore. And now, where are we coming back to now for the human being? It's the same problem, is that with electrical current or mostly radio frequency, everything is in a waveform, so it comes into the human body. You're like an antenna standing up, and your body slowly adapts to the wavelengths from what you're normally supposed to be at to this new wavelength taken on by the environment.
Okay,
and
so but there's a lot of wavelengths that are very healing to the body, nature's wavelengths. But
Yeah.
are you talking about what wavelengths are the cows getting that is draining them? What's going on?
Well, it's mostly from uh, the AC current that you see. The way the current comes through the power lines has got a clockwise spin on it. It's a
Okay.
fixed spin, and everything should have a clockwise and a counterclockwise in balance. Everything's supposed to be in balance. And what it does, if you look at the cells, your blood cells in a healthy body, they're round with a hole in the middle, which is actually the 0 point. But when your body starts getting influenced by cell phones, computers, uh, Wi-Fi, all this different man-made stuff, your blood cells start clumping up. They clump up into clumps. So
They
your
get
body is
sticky.
not.
Sticky.
Yeah,
They
they
get
get
sticky.
sticky,
And then
and there's no oxygen.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
your whole body can get sticky. The tissues get sticky. And then that's what I was saying. Energy blocks become physical blocks, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we've been able to do with our protector and bodyguard is protect the body from most of those frequencies. So your um, digestive system then is getting um, really rich oxygen into it, and the bacteria. Now, probably you're the doctor here, but I think that some people should start out with a prebiotic before they go to probiotics, because you need those prebiotics in your digestive system and your colon to find. We don't have enough of those in our body at all, not doing the work they should be. Um, and with not being able to fully digest the food, we're getting a lot of people with constipation and this kind of thing. That is a major problem with a lot of people. So, um, yeah, so the energy is, where am I thinking on this? So, yeah, as we get back into the human body again, I have here a piece that comes out of our water device, and there are 7 balls in there that represent the 7 energy points in the human body. Each one has a color of the rainbow, which is the 7 colors of the rainbow. So this is, you can imagine this is the top of your head, and this is your root or your tailbone at the bottom. And so they are the main energy. Now, we hear about people that go into or see serious things like war and accidents. The eye is a camera. It records everything it sees and puts it into the subconscious. And it's amazing how through life we keep having dreams about the past. Well, it's because those traumas are set into our brain. And when we sleep, we go into that subconscious and they all awaken and give us all these crazy dreams. Now, if you see something that's really bad, it could be an accident or anything like that, invariably your heart chakra will shut down. And then your throat. And this is where people that have been in combat, they can't talk. Even from all the wars, the people that came back very rarely talked about what they saw on the battlefield, because they couldn't, because the throat was shut down and they couldn't talk about it.
Peter, Peter, if I could.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, when we talk about your heart chakra shutting down, your throat chakra shutting down because you can't speak, you can't talk, but I'm going to tell you something. I worked on a Marine, okay? And this Marine, I just worked on him a couple of weeks ago. And this Marine, what I did was I had him lay down, and his wife, I said, look at this. And he's right-handed, okay? I said, take a look on his left side. I said, do you notice how the pec, his pectoral muscle, I said, is almost an inch and a quarter higher on his left side than his right side. She goes, oh my gosh, what is that? And I said, that is the heart. When the heart cannot process negative emotions or trauma or drama, and if it's continual, then what happens is it actually will create scar tissue, crystallization, and calcium around it. And it took me about 40 minutes, Peter, but I was able to actually get the left pec, okay, to be just a little bit lower than his right, the way it should have been. And after we took all that scar tissue apart, all right, and got the blood to flow back in there, okay, this was just a buildup of scar tissue like a fist around his heart. And he was telling me that when he would get anxious, his heart would skip a beat, or he would feel really tight in his chest like he was going to have a heart attack. I'll tell you another thing. I was in Toronto and I did a lecture for the WNM, World Organization of Natural Medicine, and there was a lady there, and she said to me, last week, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, and she already had some heart attacks. She actually has a wire and a pacemaker put into her heart. Well, I actually went into her heart and I worked on the heart area, and then what happened is she has a lot of stuff going on emotionally in her life, and she actually went into the bathroom and she threw up, and she came back and she goes, oh, I haven't felt this good in months. Do you see what we can't digest, okay, or the energy, if it's really negative, it creates all these blocks inside of us, and then we get very toxic. So she had to actually throw up to get rid of all that acid, because when you release the scar tissue and you bring back the flow, then the body's detoxing. Remember something, every emotion in the body and every negative or frequency that cannot be processed gets stored in your body tissues, and that's why it creates the inflammation, scar tissue formation, crystallization, and pulls the calcium, because the calcium's trying to buffer the pH down so that you don't mutate. How are we doing, Peter?
You're right on. 20 years ago, I was dowsing, and I got into healing. You have a positive hand, and if you look at this picture, you'll see there are energy points on both hands. One is, the left hand is negative one, and I was able to go in and feel all these energy points in the bodies. But the thing that scared me most was what I saw, how those energy points were shut down to protect the victim, and invariably a lot of them were rape victims, and so I stopped doing it because it was too hard on me to carry that load. But
Peter, if I can say one thing before we go further, and this is what we're noticing all the time. When people have been traumatized and they have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety in their life, that can only continue for so long. And guess what the body has to do? Put you into depression. So if you have too much fear, too much anxiety in your life, guess what you're doing? You're burning your brain up. So to save your brain, you get put into depression. To save the body, it blocks off these energy grids throughout the body, chakras, call them whatever you want. Okay? How's that, Peter?
that's okay. That's right. Because when the base chakra or energy is blocked, again, the throat is blocked because people can't talk about what happened to them. It's that simple. And when you hear rape victims years and years afterwards, they're getting the courage to start talking about it. But at the time, they can't do it. So
well, because the subconscious says if you have to relive that again, you might die. So I'm gonna shut your throat grid down, and you're not going to be able to speak.
Yeah, invariably it ends up with thyroid problems or reproductive problems or heart problems. We don't see much with the ones on the head, but no, it's something we have to recognize, and this is something that radionically, with the dependent now, the bodyguard, we can jumpstart all those blocks, and this is something that's really important. I use people I mean, a guy came around the other day to fill the propane tanks up. I haul him in the office and I check him out, and and you know, I found he had blocks in his body, and then I gave him a pendant to hold, and shortly after they were all opened up. So this is where I get my anybody that come in, whether it's a plumber or whoever it is, I'm testing them. But no, it's we have to understand that even the aura around the magnetic or electromagnetic field around our body, we'll call it an aura. Um, the distance, some people, it's only maybe a few inches from the body, and if you can expand that out, like we do with the pendant, 15 feet, that's expanding on your immune system. So um, yeah. So anyway, um, yeah. So what I've been talking about in previous ones is to get a DC current into our bodies, and how I test it is with a multimeter, and I just turn it on to millivolts, and then I hold the red pin in my right hand and the left pin in my the black pin in my left hand, and I'm running at 30 millivolts right now. Uh, but it's because when you hold these, the meter actually draws down your DC current in your body. So when you hit it first time, that's the level of direct current or healthy current in within your body. Um,
Can you hold a
I
thought for
just
a second, Peter?
Pardon?
I just wanted to say to everyone that I hope you're getting this. He just checked his electrical current. Do you understand that we are walking, talking batteries? We're all about frequency. We're all about electricity. The day that you no longer have any millivolts electricity is the day that you've decided to leave this planet. So understand something. Everything is about frequency. So we want to do things that are going to continually harmonize that frequency. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so in nature, everything in the ground is DC current. So the human body functions on a DC current, but we've gone so far away with the alternating current, and this is we're not going to go back. The only thing we can do is protect ourselves. And
Why did they opt to go AC instead of DC when DC is what we are and we wouldn't have all these problems? Is it all because of expense?
yeah, it was Nikola Tesla developed the DC current. He put a tower in New York City, and because I think one of the big investors anyway couldn't put a meter on it, he blew it up. Took it, they wouldn't allow them. So then they developed the AC current because they could put a meter on it and
Charge
bill you
everybody.
for everything is about money. Um, DC current can go into your body. It does not create heat. AC creates heat. Even
And
with
that's a
my
big reason why we're so inflamed as well. Not just our inflammatory diet, but all this AC current. And tell me we don't have more AC current with dealing with our phones, with laptops and LED lighting and our TVs and everything else that has LED in it.
That's correct. Um, I just lost my line of thought on that particular.
It's okay.
Um, yeah, because actually all the bacteria in your body thrive on a DC current. That's a natural current. Um, the I'm trying to think here. Well, I've been covering over lots of things. So the whole uh, thrust behind what we're talking about is trying to bring a natural healing back to the body. And you know, the there was in where I grew up in England, they started autonomous ambulances. These are on the G5 system, and all they had in was a paramedic. And in the 1st ambulance, in a short period of time, maybe 2 weeks, 3 paramedics died of heart attacks in those ambulances, and they were in their 30s and 40s. I think, it's are we do we really want to be living in that environment? I mean, uh,
And this is because
it'll
they had 5G in the ambulance?
yeah, yeah, 5G, and
Okay.
this is what we've seen with the dairy cows is if you take a general vitality, which is an energy level, these cows were at 1500, but their hearts were only at 600. Their hearts were weakened at that time, and but after we put the protector in the barn over one of the robots, all their hearts went up. The actual animals went up to 6,000 general vitality, and their hearts went to 6,000. The bacteria in their digestive systems went to 100%.
And you know
This is
what?
what I'm trying.
And this
Yeah,
is
it was.
scientific. This is scientific testing. And
Yeah,
when he says protector, everyone, just so you know for reference, these are the protectors. This is a kind of a aqua color one, and this one here is purple, and this will do your whole house. Now you took a protector and you put it on top of a robot. Now what are you talking about when you say robot? What's going on here?
well, the modern dairy farm now is all electronics. The cows wear a transponder around their necks. They're all milked by robots. Robots sweep the feed into the cows. Robots drop the bedding in. There's very little man labor in these modern barns, and but there's intense electromagnetic waves around these animals all the time, and it's starting to show very visibly in the health. And in reality, it's um, showing up in humans the same way. Just this weekend in Quebec, there was over 200% more people waiting to go into the hospital than they had capacity for. The hospitals are choked with people on stretchers, and the health of the general population is declining. And
You know,
you
Peter,
know,
if I can say something too, just to come back to the energy thing and the medical system, because you say that they're got 200 more people there than they can house. Here's something I want everybody to think about. The only reason why people think frequency and energy grids is sometimes weird voodoo-y like is because the medical system, they look at the body as a physical system. They don't look at the body as an energy system. But does everybody understand something? Every one of their testing devices, when they test you to see how healthy you are, they're testing your frequency. They're testing your vibration. They're testing the electrical energy in your body. So who's the hypocrite now? Because
yeah.
here we go. They only look at the body as a physical thing, but they test your energy, your electrical charge to see how healthy you are. That's what everything is. Whether you're talking about an X-ray, whether you're talking about ultrasound, you name it, that they're testing your energy field, right, Peter?
Yeah, they are. But one of the things I was trying to grab a hold of, we had a store in the town when we were making the tokens, and one day a woman come in. She said, "My mother had a gallbladder out when she was 17. I had mine out when I was 17. My daughter's going into hospital tomorrow to have hers out because she's 17." So what happens is if a woman has these shut down chakras or energy in the body and she has a child, it's going to be a mirror image. And you see this more and more and more where people had ADHD and then their children have ADHD,
But Peter,
hyperactivity.
but it's been
Yeah,
proven it's not genetics, it's epigenetics.
no,
So
that's
thought,
right.
the thought is the most powerful thing that you can hold, and it's invisible. And that thought, if you hold it long enough, the thought it's invisible, but it creates the visible. Otherwise, the invisible creates the physical. And you know what? Watch out what you ask for. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so it's important now we start looking at the medical costs and trying to come up with a natural way of restoring the light. I mean, our body, it needs lots of light. The human spirit, all it is light. And I was going to get into something about what I've seen with that, but I hadn't better.
No, it's good.
So yeah,
If you want to, go right
well,
ahead. Please go right ahead.
well, I've had so many gifts given to me. I have to be honest. I can't believe that I can see spirits. I talk to spirits. I have them come to me. That actually, I had a medical doctor that she was in so much pain, and she phoned me up and she said, I've got a spirit in here." She's like, "I'm in a wheelchair," and I went in and I did a hands-on healing on the spirit. It was burnt and it was in a lot of pain, and I fixed it up, and it left, and the woman got out of the wheelchair and was walking normal. This is energy. That's what it is. And I've seen so many of these things in my lifetime. Um, you know, you talk about the spirits. My sister died uh, just over a year ago, and I went in the room, and my mother and father and aunt and all, they come to take her off, and they did. When we left the room, she went with them, and this is something. There's a lot I can get into on the human spirit. Um, I'm one of the very few people that can remember my past lives, and this is another thing that's I've been gifted all this stuff, but I'm in a position where it's so far out from the normal mainstream that it's hard to talk about, because then you start to become looking like some kind of Bible thumper, and that's not what I am. My whole mission is to help people to heal their bodies and get a better life, live a better life.
Peter, if
And
I can say something on your behalf, and that is this. Everybody, take a look at Dr. Klinghardt. Look it up. Look it up on online. And you'll see that I have in my slideshow, I'm going to be putting a slideshow together for the A to Z Masterclass. And and this is called How to Thrive and Stay Alive on Planet Earth. And this is going to be a 250 slideshow, and I'm going to go through and show the whole circle of life down here on the planet. And then you think you're way out there, Peter. Wait till I go through this. Anyways, go on Dr. Klinghardt's site, but I have it the slide and the picture where they actually did Carillion photography, Peter, and they actually showed the spirit leaving this woman's body. Okay? So
yeah,
we are energy. We're energy beings, and I just want to say that that will be part of my slideshow. And Dr. Klinghardt is one of the most recognized authorities in the world, and that's all I can say. Peter, so let's talk about. So what can people do to really protect themselves? Because we know that. We are being tested more and more, especially when this whole 5G is getting rolled out right now, and people are buying more gadgets that are giving off more EMF forever in a day. So,
well, the only option we have is to do what we're trying to do, is to protect the home. That's number one. And then if you're wherever you go, you're exposed to all kinds of frequencies. Now, you got to bear in mind that viruses can be transported along these grid lines and frequencies into the human body, into animals. So you can so everything is like the skin. The human skin absorbs a tremendous. It's the biggest organ we have, and it absorbs a lot of contaminants from the air, from furniture, carpets, cleaners. You get into the environment, you've got pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. They're they're everywhere. And with this detoxing system, it's very subtle. It's very gentle. I've been working on the reduction of inflammation, and it's a it's a long process. It's what you eat, you know. I can't eat pork anymore because it just turns to uric acid, and I get and it's just one step up from arthritis or down from arthritis. So people have arthritis in their joints, and again, um, we know that these joints, you don't have to go through all this stress of knee surgery if you go onto the proper food. Um, Collagen, there's various forms of it. There's a fish collagen, there's a grass-fed dairy collagen. As you see, I have a adverse effect from uh, uh, dairy products because I keep clearing my throat. But I eat very little dairy now, but it does cause inflammation, and we've we've got to
Isn't it funny
work
though?
it.
We keep eating the dairy even though we know it's a poison, right? So
Right.
man can be programmed and conditioned to bloody well do anything, can it? I want to ask
I
you
think so.
something. What about this radiation shield from the sun? So can you tell me about that?
Okay. Yeah. Well, right now the sun has gone into an elliptic path around the Earth. So um, it's further north than it usually is, and the radiation coming off the sun is very intense. As they're seeing in Australia now, they've never seen the sun so hot, and it's the radiation coming from the sun. Um, and the same thing is going to be coming into our environment as the sun moves closer to us. So what we were able to do radionically was we already had a shield from the bodyguard and protector, and then we reinforced it with a shield that we radionically created to block the radiation from the sun. And we have also, the reason we put it into the revitalizer box is to protect crops as well,
And
because
everybody, the revitalizer box it's a big black box. It's about this big that farms can use for about 3,000 to 5,000 acres to totally increase their crops by 40% and not have any animals dying because of diseases. So because it increases the oxygen up by 40% and it also creates an environment that cannot attack them. Right, Peter?
that's right. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So you got to bear in mind if these frequencies are affecting the bacteria in our digestive systems, it's also affecting it in um, plants and soil. And the purpose we want to put this shield over the farmland is to protect the crops and actually the microorganism. If you wouldn't have hardly anything growing with any nutritional value if there wasn't bacteria, fungi, earthworms, all the different elements that make a healthy soil. And you look at a healthy soil, and we are the same thing. We have to have a healthy environment. Oxygen, um, we in normal agriculture, it's only in the top 10 to 12 inches. But when we take it through the revitalizer, we strip the electrical charge off it, we can put it down 30 feet to bring all the bacteria and important organisms down to that depth so that crops can get a deep root and protect themselves from dry weather and pick up a lot of the nutrients that are being lost. But um, again, uh, coming back to plants and to a certain degree humans, carbon is the most important thing in the soil. We look at the human body; it's about 70% water, but the rest of it is mostly carbon and proteins. So again, if we can get a higher carbon in the crops and the food we eat, which we do, then you have a healthier body with healthy food coming in. But we went out and bought groceries this week, and none of it have any flavor. It's just bland. It's not the way it used to be when farming was done more naturally. And so we've now been so we have to take vitamins and minerals and supplements and all kinds of um, products to keep ourselves healthy. And I think we have to go back to the way it was. And although they say, well, with all the people on the planet, you can't grow the food. I'm questioning that, because where we have the revitalizer box on now, we're getting bigger crops than we had when we were using fertilizer, a lot of fertilizer and chemicals. So it's just a matter of changing the way we look at things. And
Peter, everything's a program. Whether it's
yeah,
good or bad, everything is a program. Do you notice that? And I'll tell you something, people will not question their programs. I mean, do you find yourself, like I do this every day, I question my beliefs. If you don't question your beliefs every day, because, I tell people to question authority, but you need to question yourself first and foremost, because it's your belief that are going to make your life what it is. It's your belief that shape your personality, that shape your reality. It shapes everything about your life. So, that's the thing. We're bringing a lot of things that are new to people, and they're like trying to wrap their heads around this, trying to understand this whole frequency thing, this whole light energy thing, this energy grid thing. But, you know, I think that if we don't watch it and we're not willing to become flexible and we're not willing to take a look at the prominent thoughts we have and really truly asking ourselves, are these thoughts actually creating a healthy lifestyle for me and my family? And that's what you've done. That's why we are here. That's why we've got like the bodyguard, the protector. That's why we've got, the revitalizer for the farms, because you've always questioned authority, didn't you? You questioned authority because you used to be a farmer, and the fertilizers that you had to put into the soil, you couldn't buy a tractor with a big enough motor to actually dig up the soil so that you could put the seed in, because the fertilizers created a cementing effect of all the soil. It was killing everything off and compacting everything, just like our bodies get crystallized in scar tissue. It's like as if the soil was getting that way.
that's correct. Yeah, and I think that even the scar tissue with bringing in all these frequencies can be broken down and converted back in, or to go out as a waste out of the body, or however the body deals with it.
Right.
But it's the same again when this energy point in the abdomen, the solar plexus, when it shuts down, your whole digestive system is shut down. But here is the thing that people don't understand: is a healthy bacteria in the in the body creates a positive mind. If the bacteria in the body is sick, then you have an unhealthy body, and this is where the bacteria actually control our emotions. And I'm sure you know that.
Well, the large intestine, actually the bacteria in the large intestine are known as the second brain. We know that when somebody does antibiotics, or they do radiation, or they do chemo, they get chemo brain. Well, they actually knocked out the intelligence, and they knocked down the bacteria. They actually killed them, or they actually mutated them. Whether it was because antibiotics are another form of chemo. So when you wreck the second brain, which is the good bacteria, then you break connection, body-mind connection. And when you break body-mind connection, the communication is now stopping, because your bacteria actually talk 9 times for every time that your brain talks to your body. Your bacteria have talked 9 times more. So we know who's really the intelligent one. Believe it or not, as time goes on, you will watch, mark my words, they're going to say that the good bacteria in the human body is more intelligent than the brain, because the brain is not a thinker so much, it's just runs programs. How about that?
That's fine. And we had a scenario that happened. We had a marijuana grow up in Quebec that they used a natural product on the plants and they all died. They dried up. And we know how all plants communicate with plants across the country. So we had another one that we put a revitalizer inside the building, and for some unknown reason, that those plants connected with the ones in Quebec, and they put all new growth and healthy growth, and they're going to be harvesting in about 10 days from now, and that was ready to pull it out and throw it away. Um, so we've had incidents where loggers have gone into a forest and are cutting down, and then trees away from it start dying because the trees are communicating with each other. It, this is the ecosystem that we're in.
How can we live on this planet and be so narrow-minded is beyond me. And I'm not calling anybody narrow-minded. I'm just saying that we've been educated into ignorance. When we actually think that, because everything has a frequency, doesn't matter whether it's your clothes rack or whether it's food or it's a tree or a rock. I mean, I've stated this before, but how many people out there know that rocks grow? Okay, go figure. Rocks grow. So we are so narrow-minded when it comes to thinking about how the planet really is. We live in our own little world. And I think that's what's got us into trouble. What do you think, Peter?
Well, it has. And again, we were doing work with the shrimp farms in India. And we found that the pH in that water was so critical, 6.8 to 7.2, for those shrimp to survive, that we had to maintain it there. The other interesting thing was if the oxygen got too high, then they stopped growing. So so you look back at the human body, and we need to keep our pH acids in balance. We don't want to go acidic in our body because it causes a lot of inflammation and other problems. We don't want to go too alkaline because you're getting into another healing modality that it's not beneficial to go out of the range of that 6.8 to 7.2. It's what we were built for. And so there are many factors that we have to work with that we just ignore. And what I've been doing with these crops is that it's amazing. We're talking about health of plants, and we're talking about health of people. And when we put plasma, which is from lightning, it's what the northern lights are, is plasma, into the environment, the plants responded so positively that there were no more aphids, thrips, spider mites, or potato bugs. They don't attack healthy plants. So think about
Healthy people, where are they?
we're putting the plasma into what we're doing here, and it's natural, and it's a DC current basically, but it protects you from all of these colds and flus, and now you're going to get once in a while, but invariably you stay far healthier and have less problems than if you are totally out of balance. You got to think everything in your body has to be in balance, and the other thing, we look at water. Most people are gurgling back too much Pepsi and Coke, with a lot of artificial flavoring in it. And again, artificial flavoring is not what our body needs. It needs, well, I use honey and brown sugar and things like that. I know I don't use much of them, but it's just you need the energy. Maple syrup is another great one for the energy in your body. Your bacteria in your gut will appreciate it too because they live on it.
Can I step back
Sugars.
for a second? So you were talking about how the healthy animals, okay, they had no more bugs. There was no more bugs that were attacking them, and the healthy plants, the same thing. Well, that's what's going on with us today. I mean, right now, I guarantee you that like 8 out of 10 people are going to have a cold or a flu, and they're going to have a cold or a flu by the 14th of January. And they're going to get really sick because most people, they overloaded themselves with too many artificial flavorings and sugar and dairy and all the other things that we seem to do with ourselves. But the reality is that I had a patient come in today and she has a cold and she coughed right in front of me and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't want to give it to you." And I said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to get it." And I said to her, I said, "Look, I don't, the same bug that you've got right now, that same cold or flu, it's inside of me. But the reality is, terrain is everything. So that bug is not going to take me down. I'm bigger than the bug. But when you have low integrity in your tissues and your immune system is down, the bug comes in and goes, 'Honey, I'm home.' And then it just goes to town on you. Every bug that has ever been on this planet, good or bad, is inside my body. When I create a certain type of environment, that is going to wake up that bug being good or bad. So if the environment is healthy and strong, it wakes up the good bugs, or it takes bugs, the bad ones, and it morphs them back into healthy ones. So everybody, you need to get this. You don't catch a cold. Okay, you create an environment in your body that when the virus or the bacteria comes in and you say, "Look, I'm down, I'm weak, kick me." What do you think, Peter?
Well, that's true, and we've seen that with. I keep have to going back to agriculture because when we revitalized the sheep farm, they were losing a lot of sheep from parasites.
Yeah.
When we energized the whole property, the land, oxygen in the soil, that wasn't a problem anymore. The animals were healthier, the soil was healthier, and the parasites just disappeared.
And what did Dr. Otto Warburg get the Nobel Prize for? Because he discovered that if you could keep the oxygen levels up high enough, if the oxygen levels drop down by 32% for an extended period of time, that causes mutation of cells, and that's what turns on cancer. Same thing with crops, animals, doesn't really matter, right, Peter?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we keep turning back, but coming back again. I think that the healthy environment in us will keep everything normal and flowing, and this is really what we have to do. Especially, when people report that their kidneys are getting stronger, and it's from the only thing they've done is war dependent, and they're getting a 12-point increase in their health kidneys.
Well, you know what? People find it hard to believe that your pennant is going to do that, but guess what? You're talking about putting in the same type of frequencies that nature has inside this pennant.
Yes.
Just as when somebody goes for a walk in a beautiful bush, sure, it's quiet in there, but what people don't understand is you're actually picking up the frequencies from the plant life, from the trees, and you're not getting as much negative frequencies that human beings have created. So you're actually absorbing these nature frequencies like a sponge into your body. And that's why when you go out to nature, you go, "Oh my gosh, I feel so good." Well, that's because that's the true food. And as I've stated before, it's all about frequencies, because everything you eat, everything you drink, whether it's alcohol or it's a protein shake or it's water or it's a great salad, or it's a donut. None of this stays in the body. The only thing that's left behind is the frequency. Prove me wrong. So if that's true, then how important is this whole frequency thing, Peter? It's everything, isn't it?
It's everything. And one of the things we've we've been able to capture the energy of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and put that right into these pendants. They're going in. You're getting what we're again going to say is you get vitamin D from the sun, but the only way you can do that is by having the sun on your skin. But in a frequency form, what it does, it supports everything in your body, the vitamins and minerals and the colors and everything. You see, again, we've talked about colors. Every mineral has a color attached. And if you strip the color off the mineral, it doesn't do anything. It's just inert.
Boom.
So it's important that we have all these colors in our body to support the vitamins and minerals even at the cellular level, because there is this electrical process going on that's going clockwise, pausing, going counterclockwise to take nutrients into the cell, waste away from the cell. And half, again, I've said this before, half of the vitamins and minerals are positive and half are negative. And that's why you need these figure eight spins that is created in the actual cells of your body. And I got an email today where they've proven that every cell has these polarities going on in it all the time.
And that's why you want to. That's why you want to eat a rainbow salad, right? Because you want all the colors, because you want a colorful life.
Well, certainly colors can affect your mentality. You can be depressed if you get a wrong color, or you can be upbeat and cheerful. And your body will tell you that when you're picking your clothes out, which color you need for that day. And Nancy here, she has the pendants, and she wear blue one day, a cinnamon one, a cranberry one another day, and a purple one another day, because that's what her body tells her she needs to do. So yeah, the human body is a marvelous piece of equipment. I mean, how it functions and what we can do is, I think the rat's the next smartest thing on the planet. They're not too smart in my, because they survive. But yeah, it's we've got to start caring for ourselves. But if you look at all the stuff now, you don't put a cell phone close to your body and walk around with it. And there's children, they're saying that children with a developing brain shouldn't even have an iPad till they're quite a bit older, but they seem to be made now for babysitting them. They play games on these iPads just to keep them entertained, and they're not realizing it could have a potential harmful effect.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, again, to get the other thing the human body needs is a deep sleep, a good night's sleep. And you can't get that with all these electronics in the room, digital clocks and TVs, and even the blue lights on fans. The blue light is not a good light to have in a bedroom where you want to sleep. You want it as dark as possible, and so yeah.
Very good. So, Peter, what would you like to leave with everybody today? Because we're going to be back here tomorrow, same channel, same place. Everybody, start thinking about the questions that you want to ask Peter, and don't be afraid to challenge Peter and myself. I mean, this stuff is new, and if it's kind of going bumpity bump in your brain, the best thing about life is there's so many different people with so many different beliefs. And so we don't mind being challenged, because you know what? I'm the same way. If I hear something new, I want to know and I want to understand it. People who ask questions are very intelligent people. And the person that usually asks the most questions is the one that learns the most, actually. So feel free to type in your questions underneath today's show on Facebook, or you can type them into Instagram tomorrow when we're live, or YouTube when we're live. And we're going to be taking all these questions for Peter. Peter was nice enough. I asked him to come on after Christmas, and here we are. So, Peter, what would you like to leave everybody with until tomorrow when they come with their questions?
Well, I have to say that I've been blessed with this ability to communicate with nature and everything in nature, to be able to feel energy, see energy, and communicate with energy. It's a gift. And I think right now what you're doing is trying to allow me to express my feelings to the general public so that they can realize that there is, if you believe in health and wellness, you can lift yourself up to a higher level. And this is what vibrations, as they go higher and higher. There's the highest vibration in the human body is the crown on the top of the head is purple. And that's where, we want to get to eventually. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Peter. And like I said, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be here to answer a bunch of questions we've already taken from people. But like I said, please think about things that will challenge us. Think about things that even challenge yourself and the life that you live and the beliefs that you have. You got to understand something. Everybody, I want you to get this. This is your show. And the thing is this show is about giving you the most beautiful day every day of your life. So understand that. So you know what? We want to learn to honor, respect, love, and protect ourselves. And we really need to do this, and you need to get this. And that is a major problem, that we put ourselves second. I really don't see a lot of selfishness out there. I see a lot of people hurting themselves. I see a lot of people intentionally hurting themselves. People who actually know things that aren't good for them are continually doing them. Why? Well, because we're running programs. Why would we ever hurt ourselves? Why wouldn't we just love ourselves and honor and respect and protect ourselves? And that's what Peter's trying to tell you, is that you need to protect your frequency. You need to protect what is around you, what is in you. Look, this is your life, and you know as well as I do that down on this planet Earth, you can suffer until you just wish it was all over. You can suffer so much that you don't know if you're going to wake up the next morning, and you don't know if you want to wake up the next morning. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of people depressed right now out there. I answer my phone. I answer every phone call. I've got about 9 phone calls I got to do when I finish here, and I'm cleaned up for the day. But I tell people, you just call me. But I will tell you, there's a lot of people that are bottomed out right now, okay? And maybe they already had trouble with depression, but then they got into too much sugar, too much alcohol. Maybe they got disappointed because family members didn't come to visit, or it just didn't work out, all right? And it's going to continually be like this until you become selfish enough to know what your needs are, okay? You need to feed yourself full of love. Feed yourself good food. Be around beautiful people. And you got to learn to let go and get rid of things that are negative. Whether it's negative frequencies, negative people, negative foods, go in there. Clean your cupboards out. Clean your fridge out. Clean the old drugs out of the bathroom, out of your bedroom. Understand that you're more than this. We need to bring our vibration up. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Write your questions down, or you can send them in live, okay? And just know that I'll be back here as well with Del Bigtree, okay, on Wednesday, all right, for what the beep is going on with vaccinations. And then we'll be here for the Q&A on Friday. And then next Monday, I'll be doing my Q&A with you. Any questions that you want to ask, emotionally, physically, nutritionally, I'm here for you. God bless everyone, and thank you for joining me today. And guess what? Just know that every Q&A that we do, we timestamp all the questions, so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but you do have to go to YouTube to watch it, okay? So when you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe below and make sure you click on the bell to enable notifications so you never miss a show. And just know that all your questions matter to us. They really, truly do. And you know what? Don't be scared to ask a question, because I'm not going to be upset by it. Either is Peter. We don't expect everyone to believe in what we believe in. But hey, why not try to bring things to people that are just going to bring them more joy at the end of the day, right? So here, I'm going to just again tell Peter, thank you for so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm blessed to be here. Yeah, thank you.
We're all blessed to be here, my friend.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to finish with my Braveheart quote. I am love, I am healed, I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment I rise until I gently close my eyes, I will trust, honor, respect, protect, forgive, and totally love myself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else. So help me God. Because I am, I can, I'm healed, I'm Braveheart. Again, thank you, Peter. And all my listeners who make this show possible. God bless everyone. Listen, today's the day we take our power back to heal, right? 3, 2, 1, you got this. God bless. If you're looking for life-saving and life-changing information, well, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Stay connected.